Consistent content will not lead to consistent income.
What?
What's up, guys? It's your girl Brianna Queen. I help service-based entrepreneurs sell their services consistently and authentically. So today's video, we are talking about why being consistent will not create consistent income. It just no. Like, that is not a true quote, fact, stat, whatever. It's not true. And today we are talking about why it is not true. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. Content needs to be intentional. You need to be creating content with intent. Just creating content for the sake of creating content is not going to equal consistent income. Content needs to be intentional and it needs to be strategic. There needs to be a strategy behind why you're creating content. You know, why are you creating this YouTube video? Are you creating this YouTube video just because you feel like you need to create it? If that's the case, the video will most likely be fluff. And nobody likes fluffy videos, right? Like, we don't like watching things that are just a whole lot of fluff. This girl just created this video just to say she was consistent, right? Like, it's that filler content. Nobody likes filler content, and filler content does not really move the needle. Content needs to be intentional. It needs to be, handling objections. It needs to be educating, informing, entertaining. Like, there needs to be some kind of intent behind the content that you create. Creating content just for the sake of creating content just adds to the noise. And in order to, create consistent income, you need to be able to break through the noise when it comes to your ideal client, or else your ideal client won't work with you because there's a whole lot of noise, right? And these days, we are bombarded with ads and sales and marketing, and like, we're bombarded with so much stuff. So how do you break through all of that noise so that your ideal client sees you, they hear you, and they're ready to work with you? And just creating content for the sake of creating content is not going to mean you have consistent income if it's not intentional. And it needs to be strategic. Like, you have to have a strategy behind it. I've seen people where they post, you need to be posting 5 times a day, or you need to be posting 3 times a day. And it's like, why? Why do you need to be posting 3 times a day? Are you posting 3 times a day because you want to get in front of new people? Like, there are better ways to get in front of new people. And the goal shouldn't be just to get in front of anybody, right? Like, you want to get in front of the right people. I'll give the example of, if you're a beautician and you help women style their hair, well, creating a bunch of posts and getting in front of new people, if these people don't care about their hair, or they're men, or they're bald headed, like, yeah, you're getting in front of new people, but it's not the right people. Creating consistent content does not equal consistent income, and especially if it's not intentional and it's not strategic. You have to have a strategy behind why you do the things that you do. You have to post with intent. You can't just be posting just to post, because then you're just adding to the noise. And on top of adding to the noise, you're exhausted. Like, posting every single day and you're tired, that is not sustainable. And for me, I really focus, especially my students have my program Uncomplicated Sales, like, I really focus on helping them have a sustainable business, a business that they can have, and they have a method and a framework and a system they can continue to do days, weeks, months, years later. I don't think posting every single day, especially if you don't have a team behind you, you don't have somebody who posts it for you, but you're doing it yourself, I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think it is a great way to scale your business. In order to have, repeatable income, you need to be doing things that are repeatable. If you're posting every single day, you're going live once a day, which I've heard someone say you need to be going live every single day. And I'm like, that is not sustainable. Or maybe it's sustainable to them, but most people, they're not going to be able to go live every single day, right? And if your income is tied to going live every single day, which is not repeatable, which is not sustainable, then you're going to suffer from that yo-yo income. And I find a lot of entrepreneurs who don't have consistent income, one of the reasons why is because they're either creating lots of content that's not moving the needle, or they're doing things that is not sustainable and that's not repeatable, and they're burning themselves out because they're like, I'm so exhausted from having to do all these things to make money, when I found that simple systems, simple things leads to income because it is sustainable. Which leads me into number 2 on why creating consistent content will not equal consistent income. You know, posting really cute, trendy quotes is nice, and don't get me wrong, you know, I love posting some cute little quotes. They're awesome. They get lots of shares, they get lots of engagement. You know, people may discover you from these really cute quotes, but are they converting into clients? Because, you know, I always say popular does not mean profitable. And you're creating all this content, and the content is building awareness, but it is not getting people to see you as the problem solver. Therefore, you're not going to have consistent income. Your content needs to be moving the needle. It needs to be establishing you and positioning you as the expert, positioning you as the problem solver, positioning you as the person that your ideal client needs to work with to solve this overarching problem. And if you're just creating cute quotes, one, they don't even know what you offer. Like, I follow people and I'm just like, what do they do? Like, what do they offer? Like they say they're a business owner, but like, what's their business? Like, what problem do they solve? And you want your audience to know exactly what you do. Confused people don't buy. So you really want to make sure content that you're creating, you are letting people know like exactly what you do. You're building that awareness, yes, but you're also building that, listen, you have this problem, sis. I can solve this problem for you. This is the offer that I have. And if you're ready to have this overarching solution to this problem, work with me. Here's how. Your content should have your client going through a cycle of not just finding out who you are, but finding out who you are, being informed, educated, and feeling like, you know what, I need to work with this person to solve my problem. As a service provider, as a business owner, you have to sell your services, and you have to sell your services consistently. And you can't sell your services consistently if you're just posting just to post with no intent behind it, with no strategy behind it, and it's not educating your clients, not just how-to educational, but it's not educating your clients on what you do and how you can best serve them. And then on top of that, you know, I said like content needs to move the needle, right? Like content needs to get people to take action. And that's probably one of the biggest content mistakes I see is people creating content that just doesn't get people to see them as the expert and want to take action and work with them. Your content needs to resonate with people. Your content needs to build credibility. Your content needs to bring awareness. And just creating content every single day, it will not lead to consistent income. You generate consistent income when you have a sustainable system that brings leads into this pipeline of knowing, finding out who you are, finding out what you do, and taking action and wanting to work with you and then working with you. That's how you create consistent income. You don't create consistent income burning yourself out. You don't create consistent income with strategies that are not sustainable or overcomplicated. You know, you don't create consistent income by doing the most and doing all the things. There are more effective and efficient ways to use your time, especially as a service provider. You still have to do the service, right? Like you're marketing yourself to get new clients, and then you get a new client and you still got to perform the service for the client, but you're also trying to market to new clients, like this never ending circle of exhaustion. I know that was the case for me when I started my branding business, 2017. I was doing all of these things. I was creating YouTube videos and podcast episodes, and now I have YouTube videos and I have a podcast, but my podcast is just my YouTube videos, the audio version of my YouTube videos. And I have my YouTube videos, and that's just the video version of my podcast episode. I repurpose my content. Whereas like in 2017, 2018, I was recording separate podcast episodes. I had separate YouTube videos, separate emails, Instagram posts, Facebook posts. I had a Facebook community I was trying to build up and maintain. I had, my Instagram I was trying to build up and grow. I was on Twitter. I was just doing all of these things. I was tired and I was bringing in clients, yes, but first I was so burnt out from having a market that when it came time to get a client, I was like, dang, I still got to perform the service. So then I put my all into performing this service to where I'm not marketing anymore. So now nobody's finding me. So it was like a yo-yo of I get a client, I work with this client, but as I'm working with this client, I'm not marketing myself. So then once I offboard this client and I do the work, I don't have any new leads coming in. So now I go back to the drawing board of marketing myself heavy to get new clients. Then I get their service. Now I'm not marketing again. And it just wasn't sustainable, and it's not a good way to bring in new leads. When you have a system that you can perform the service and you can still market, when you can offboard someone and you have new clients coming into your pipeline that you can onboard, that's going to create consistent income. And just creating consistent content every single week or day, it's not going to really move the needle and have people going through your pipeline of discovering you, wanting to work with you. And then as you're working with them and you have this time to dedicate to working with the person you've onboarded, you have somebody else interested in working with you and actually being able to onboard them at the same time. And this is my program, Uncomplicated Sales, I really help students create this simple system to where they have a sales machine, to where they can, attract people, nurture, convert, offboard, all of these things at the same time without feeling depleted, without being exhausted, and without having to post every single day, because it's not sustainable. I often hear consistent content leads to consistent income, and I just don't think that's the case. You can post every single day and still not bring in consistent income. You have to be intentional. You have to be strategic. Yes, consistency is important. Yes, you need to be consistent in whatever you do, but you can't just post for the sake of posting. You do have to have intent behind it. You do have to have strategy behind it, and you have to ensure that the content that you are creating, it builds that trust, it builds that credibility, and it gets people to want to take action and work with you and actually do that action, right? If you're interested in joining my program, Uncomplicated Sales, applications are currently open. I am accepting people into the program. The program is for service-based entrepreneurs who are ready to create a simple system to sell their services consistently and authentically without having to do all the things. So if you're interested in that program and you want to watch my free training, go to www.uncomplicatedSales.com. So if you enjoyed this podcast episode, or YouTube video, please be sure to give me 5 stars on iTunes, thumbs it up on IGTV or YouTube. Your support allows me to continue to do these videos, these podcasts, these episodes, these things, continue to drop the gems so you're not doing outdated marketing tactics and strategies that burn you out, okay? All right, so I'll talk to you guys in my very next episode. Bye, guys.